Durdle Magic. Thank you for tuning in to Durdle Magic. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you like the content you see here today, and leave a like and share the video with someone you might think is interested. Leaving those likes really helps us out, but another way to help us out is by using our TCG Player affiliate link below. If you're looking for singles, sealed product, or gaming accessories, please consider using our link to support the channel. We also have some playmats at inkgaming.com. Go ahead and hit the link in the description to check those out. Alright, let's grab some spells and Durdle with some magic. Hello and welcome back to Durdle Magic. Today we're playing some more Colfenor, the Last U Enchantment version. Looking at our opening hand, we do have a bunch of 3-drops. We do have green and white at least. Setescent Champion, new to the deck here. Don't know if I want to keep it though, because we don't really have a lot of follow-up. We can't even cast our other 2 3-drops. So I think I'm going to take a mulligan. New hand, 2 lands, lots of green we can summon. Not a 3rd land though, and no land search. Yeah, let's take one more mulligan, see where that gets us. Okay, so now we have 2 lands, land search, removal, and a follow-up with reclamation stage. This is much better. Let's go ahead and keep that. Probably put, what do we want? Sandworm Convergence on the bottom or Tulsimir Wolfblood? Let's put Sandworm Convergence on the bottom. It's going to be a while until we get to that. So our commander, 3 white, black, green for legendary 3/7 Treefolk Shaman. Vigilance and Reach, whenever it or another creature you control dies, return up to 1 other target creature with lesser toughness from your graveyard to your hand. Swift Water Cliffs into play for our first opponent, who is Jhoira of the Gitu. 1 blue, red for legendary 2/2 Human Wizard. 2, exile non-land card from your hand. Put 4 time counters on the exiled card. If it doesn't have Suspend, it gains Suspend. I did host the game. I did say casual. Luckily, Worldfire is banned, but we'll have to see how Jhoira goes. Our next opponent is Nymris, Una's Trickster. First time I've seen this card. 3 blue, black for legendary 1/6 Fairy Knight. Flash, flying. Whenever you cast your first spell during each of your opponent's turns, look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put 1 of those cards in your hand and the other into your graveyard. Mischief is its own reward. Fetid Pools into play tapped for them. And our last opponent is Karametra, God of Harvest, 3 green-white for legendary 6/7 legendary enchantment creature god. Indestructible, as long as your devotion to green-white is less than 7, it isn't a creature, and whenever you cast a creature spell, you may search your library for a forest or plains card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. Veteran Explorer into play after a forest for them. When it dies, each player may search their library for 2 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield. Nice. Comes our turn, we get Satyr Enchanter. Nice, maybe we'll see some enchantments this time. Last video, I went and counted afterward. We had 31 enchantments alone, so how we drew almost none of them, I don't know. Let's go ahead, play a forest, and pass it off to our opponents. Jhoira's turn, Island into play. We have Lightning Greaves. That should be bad. Over to Nymris. We have a Swamp followed by Talisman of Dominance. Over to Karametra. Could be Landfall, could be Enchantments, could be both. I mean, we have a Landfall enchantment in our deck, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top. Don't know what to expect out of Nymris, really, so that has me a little bit worried. And also Jhoira, considering the room's supposed to be casual, but it is Jhoira of the Gitu. So don't know what to expect there either. Comes our turn, we get Wooded Bastion. Nice. Let's go ahead, play that actually, and get down Ashakira Tribe Elder. Steve to the battlefield, pass the turn. Probably sack it for a swamp unless we draw one next turn, and or unless we have to block. Over to Jhoira, Island into play. I imagine either she'll be coming down or they're going to put down a little bit of maybe like Pillow Fort or some other creature that does mana. Alright, it's Jhoira of the Gitu coming down for that player. Greaves getting equipped. Jhoira on the attack, off into the Karametra player. Yeah, I can understand that. Karametra, you know, it just sits there and stuff, but the deck behind it can be ridiculous. Veteran Explorer into the block, that means everybody's going to get some lands. Let's go ahead. I think I want to grab 2 swamps here. There we go, 2 swamps into play. Second main phase for Jhoira. They suspend an Eldrazi Devastator. It has an 8/9 with Trample. No Annihilator, thankfully. But that's going to be fairly dangerous. We have a Bajuka Bog out of Nymris heading off to the Karametra player. Alright. That's it for Nymris. They did not summon their commander. So I wonder what else they may have planned. Their commander does have Flash, so they didn't have to summon it that turn. So it could be interesting, maybe just holding up mana for counters. Karametra, God of Harvest onto the stack for that player. Karametra into play. No counters from Nymris. Let's go ahead and sacrifice our Secure Tribe Elder. Go get a land. We'll get a forest. That was at the end of Karametra's turn. Rolls over to us. We get Elephant Grass. There's some of that Pill Fort I was talking to you guys about, but not going to summon it yet. Let's go ahead and play Plains and get down our commander. Or conversely, we could get down our Reclamation Chases and take care of those Lightning Greaves, and then also get down a Satyr Enchanter. That might actually be better at the moment. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's grab those Lightning Greaves. We do not need an army of Eldrazi pounding down our door. Lightning Greaves gone. Let's do the Satyr Enchanter. And we'll pass it off. Hopefully Satyr Enchanter will live, then we can cast 2 enchantments next turn. If we don't cast our commander, draw a few extra cards. 2 Jhoira's turn. Eldrazi Devastator will lose a suspend counter. They have 3 left. Ingress Marauders gets suspended. That's not good. So that doubles damage from their sources to a permanent their opponent's control. Chartooth Cougar also getting suspended. Okay. Now, something to remember with suspend is if it's a creature, it gains haste out of suspension. So we need to get down Elephant Grass in about 2 turns. End of Jhoira's turn, Nymris, Una's Trickster coming down for that player. It is a fairy and a knight, by the way. Night Veil Spectre. Alright. So for Dimir, 2/3 flying. Whenever deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles the top card of the library. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards exiled with Night Veil Spectre. I remember when Devotion Blue and the first Theros block in Standard was a thing. This card was insanely expensive in paper. Now, not so much. No attacks out of Nymris, over to Karametra. Just a forest into play for Karametra this turn. That's interesting. Alright, I mean, one more land they could have a route, but I haven't seen too many people use it. Our turn gives us Erebos Bleak-Hearted, another new addition to the deck. Basically, our creatures like to die, we get to draw cards, we can sack our creatures to make them die to get cards, and weaken other creatures. That was a good fit. Okay, so we could risk getting down our commander, but I don't need Jhoira suspending any more stuff. So I think what we're going to do here is Erebos and Kendrith. That seems like a plan. Kendrith's Transformation, we get to draw a card thanks to the Enchanter. We get Rampant Growth, that will be good. We will need 1 more land for the Elephant Grass and our commander. It gets elked, we draw another card. Sphere of Safety. Nice, we can always do with some backup. Let's go ahead and summon our god, the Bleak-Hearted Erebos. We get to draw another card. We get Mesa Enchantress. Alright, some more backup. Finally getting to our enchantment stuff. And we'll pass the turn there. Well, actually, let's go ahead and attack off into Karametra. Might as well get some damage in. We have a response out of Karametra. What is it? Secure the Waste. They will make 5 1/1 warrior tokens. Okay, that works out. Let's see if they intercept. They are going to intercept. We will lose Reclamation Sage. That's unfortunate. Erebos will trigger. We'll go ahead and draw a card. Why not? We get Marshal's Anthem. That'll also be good later. Need more white sources, though. And we'll pass the turn. 2 Jhoira's turn. Eldrazi Devastator down to 2 counters. Angrath and Chartooth down to 3. Spiteball is coming down for the Jhoira player. 6 damage to something. I bet it's going to be Satyr Enchanter. Could be Nymris, but they haven't done anything to him yet. Could also be their commander, I suppose, to get back into the command zone. Alright, it got sacrificed for Evoke. Oh, it's going after the Night Veil Spectre. Nice, as long as it's not going after us. I did love the Evoke mechanic. I do hope we go back to Lorwyn someday, but apparently not a lot of people liked it. Jhoira taps down the rest of their mana and passes off the turn. End of turn, Nymris has a response. We have Una's Grace. So, target player will draw a card. It also has Retrace. They're targeting themselves. Nymris is going to trigger. They put Necromancy into the graveyard. That's interesting. Thought they would want to keep something like that, but I guess there's nothing too much around. Necromancy, Dance of the Dead, and Animate Dead were all cards I considered for this deck, but they are a bit expensive, and when I go to look for cuts for my decks, I often go towards the more expensive cards. Soul Ring coming down for Nymris. Followed by Imperial Plate. Gets 1/1 for each card in your hand. Nice. That's it for Nymris. I thought they'd equip the plate and attack, but there are a lot of things on the board, so maybe not yet. They also have a lot of instants, it looks like, so nothing to worry about there. Over to Karametra. They drop a land, they do Forest, 7 mana into play. Reclamation Sage coming down. Karametra will trigger because they cast a creature spell. Creatures coming into play do not trigger her. Okay, there's the trigger. Where are they going to send it? The Imperial Plate. I'm just glad it wasn't Kenrith's Transformation. I would not have understood that choice. I understand the plate, though. That's it for Karametra. They got a Plains into play, by the way, off the cast trigger for Karametra. Comes to our turn, we get Isolated Chapel. That works for me. Let's go ahead and play it. And then I think at this point, we summon our commander and Elephant Grass and call that a day. Our commander to the stack, Colfenor, the Last U. Looks like we have counter magic coming out of Nymris. That'll be unfortunate. Yep, Spell Swindle. They'll counter it and get treasure equal to its converted mana cost. Sad face. We'll send Colfenor back to the command zone. Let's go ahead and play Elephant Grass. We'll get to draw a card. See if Nymris has a counter for this. We get Nyla Keen-Eyed. They do not. Alright, let's pass the turn. Black creatures cannot attack us. Over to Jhoira's turn. Eldrazi Devastator going down to 1. Ingrath's Marauders going down to 2. Chartooth going down to 2. Eldrazi Devastator, we're going to need to get some removal for that. And or get down Spirit Safety and some more enchantments. Is It Blue works into play after Jhoira taps a mountain to float the red. They will have to return a land. I wager it will be the tapped mountain. There it goes. Jhoira taps the rest of their mana and passes the turn. Yeah, unfortunately Jhoira decks tend to be very Jhoira-centric. Nymris at the end of turn is sacrificing some treasures. Let's see what they're doing with it. Una's Grace on the retrace. They discard an island. They get to draw a card, targeting themselves. Yep. And they get to look at the top 2 and decide where to divide them. Mind Stone into the graveyard. Nymris' turn proper. Tapping some mana. Let's see what they do with it. Precognition Field. Look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast instant order spells from the top of your library and pay 3, exile the top card of your library. I believe there's a... Is it red that has another card that's similar? Runechanter Spike. Equipped creature has first strike in XO, where X is the number of instant sorcery cards in your graveyard. So it could be like a Spellslinger Tron kind of deal with Nymris. That would be interesting. Runechanter Spike gets equipped. It currently gets 2-0 for the Runechanter Spike. Let's see if they're going to send it anywhere. They are. They're going to send it into Karametra. That works for me, although I hope they have something to deal with the Eldrazi Devastator coming down just before their turn next. 3 damage in the air is good. Karametra, 3 commander, down to 37. 2 Karametra's turn. Hopefully they cast something worthy of a counterspell. Nymris does have 3 treasures up, and that does concern me. Plus, they have an extra card off the top of their deck if they need it. So they essentially still have 7 cards in hand. Feldar Sovereign. If that doesn't get a counterspell on Nymris, I don't know what will. Karametra will trigger. Ooh, no counterspell out of Nymris. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, we're probably cleared to summon our own stuff then. Can I also say that's the 3rd Feldar Sovereign I've seen this week? Did it suddenly get more popular? Oh, end of Karametra's turn. Spectral Sailor out of Nymris. Okay. Elephant Grass will trigger. We will pay the upkeep this time. We get Phyrexian Reclamation. Probably gonna save that for later. Don't know yet. Let's go ahead, though, and play the Rampant Growth. We'll get a Plains. Or should we get a Forest? No, I think a Plains is appropriate. Let's try playing the Mesa Enchantress. No counterspell. Let's play Phyrexian Reclamation. Triggers to the stack. We cast an enchantment. Now we get to draw 2 cards. High Market. Okay. And Generous Gift. That'll be nice. Let's play High Market. And we will have to pass the turn. Okay, back to Jhoira's turn. Eldrazi Devastator should be coming down to the battlefield now. There it is. Eldrazi Devastator coming down to the battlefield for the Jhoira player. They also have 6 mana available. We know they have another mountain in hand, so who knows what else they'll be playing this turn. It does have haste, like I said, from Suspend. Eldrazi Devastator going off into the Nymris player. I had not expected that. I expected them to come after us, but that works out okay. They also have Psychrift mana, which doesn't make me feel any better. Nymris takes the full 8 down to 32. Second main phase for Jhoira. Lots of mana coming down. Let's see. Are they going to tap it all? They are. I mean, it could also be an Angel of Treachery. No, it's a Nezahal Primal Tide. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to kill. End of turn, Nymris doing some flashy things. Radical Idea, draw a card, and Jumpstart. So they'll draw a card. Nezahal will trigger, so Jhoira will get to draw a card. Nymris will trigger. They'll get to look at the top 2 and decide where to split it. between their hand and the graveyard. 2 Nymris turn proper, 8 cards in hand after the draw. Haven't dropped a new land in a while, but they're not hurting for mana just yet. God Eternal Kafnet. Yeah, that'll be pretty good. So this is one of the gods from War of the Spark. 2 blue, flying 4/5, Zombie God. Flying, you may reveal the first card you draw each turn. As you draw it, whenever you reveal an instant or sorcery card this way, copy that card and you may cast the copy. The copy costs 2 less to cast. When this dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you may put it into its owner's library 3rd from the top. Fowar Stone coming down for Nymris. Nymris on the attack. They're sending it off into Jhoira. Damage is good, they have no flyers and no reach. 3 commander, down to 38. Over to Karametra. Lots of mana, 3 cards in hand now that they played a forest. Not a lot of card draw though. Feldar Sovereign thankfully does not trigger, they do not gain a surprise amount of life. Emeria Shepherd. So this is the landfall one. Landfall, you get something from your graveyard back to your hand. If it's a plains and it's a permanent, it goes to the battlefield. Sorry, non-land permanent specifically. Otherwise, you could just chain that. And a Seer Sundial coming down for Karametra. Landfall, pay 2, draw a card. That's the end of Karametra's turn, going to roll over to us. Elfin Grass triggers. We'll go ahead and pay for it again. We get Eidolon of Blossoms, even more card draw. Yeah, sure, why not? Although next turn we will have to get down Spear of Safety, so that is problematic. Also, we can leave up mana this turn for Generous Gift. We have triggers, we'll get to draw some more cards. Eidolon of Blossoms is also an addition to the deck. Ooh, Winds of Abandon, there we go. Twilight Mire is our other draw. And Eidolon comes into play. Unlike the other ones where it's cast, this one has Constellation, so it's when an enchantment enters the battlefield. We get a forest. Nice. Okay, I don't want to discard a card, so what should we use Generous Gift on? I'm thinking Precognition Field because we're going to exile the creatures anyway. And it doesn't look like Karametra is going to gain any life. They might be able to somehow, but I just don't think so, so let's go ahead and do it. Generous Gift on Precognition Field. Nezahal will trigger again. Nezahal is being exiled. They discarded 3 cards. I'm not entirely sure why. Let's see. Bane of Valgad, Desolation Twin, and Chaos Maw. Alright, that's interesting. The enchantment from Nymris is down. Did not expect that. Thought there might be a counter magic. Alright, let's just pass it off. End of turn. Nezahal Primal Tide will return to Jhoira's battlefield. I still don't know why they did that, but could be a mystery. Maybe they have some way to bring them all back. Let's see. 2 Jhoira's upkeep. Angrath's Mirage and Chartooth will come out of suspend with haste. Mountain in play for Jhoira. I really hope they don't have a Psych Rift because I want to use Winds of Abandon and get rid of everything. But it really depends if Jhoira has counter magic and if Nymris taps all their mana so they don't have counter magic available. It's going to be a risky play. Nezahal, Eldrazi Devastator, and Chartooth on the attack. And we have some activations. Alright, 1 into each of us. Nezahal coming at us. We will use Mesa Enchantress to block Nezahal. Erebos Bleak card will trigger. Mesa Enchantress is dead. We'll pay the 2 life. We get another land. We are down to 36. Damage against Karametra is good. They go down to 21. End of turn. Nymris has a play. Corpse Dance. Instant buyback 2. They did not cast it with buyback. Return the top creature card of your graveyard to the battlefield. The creature gains haste on the turn. Exiled at the beginning of the next end step. Sepulchral Primordial. Perhaps I missed it. Of note, this is all at the end of turn for Jhoira, which means we still have to worry about counter magic for Winds of Abandon. Okay, they're going to take our Reclamation Sage. That's unfortunate. Elephant Grass is probably gone bye-bye. Let's see what else they're taking. Nothing in Karametra's graveyard. They're getting the Chaos Maw, going to wipe the battlefield of our creatures. That's unfortunate. Oh, they're actually getting rid of Phyrexian Reclamation. Did not see that coming. Reclamation down. There goes our poor creatures. We do have triggers on the stack. Blue creatures can attack us if they pay 2. They will have the mana. Black creatures cannot. So we could be taking about 14 damage from Nymris if they really want to. So I think we'll just draw 1 card. So no on the first and yes on the second. We get Blind Obedience. That will be good after Winds of Abandon. 2 Nymris' actual turn. 7 cards in hand after the draw. They still have access to both the Sepulchral Primordial they cast last time and the Chaos Maul. Akasha Debaser. That's a new one from Commander Legends. Whenever it attacks, put target creature card from defending player's graveyard on the battlefield under your control, and it has Encore. Yep, that needs to be dealt with. Unfortunately, they still have mana up for counters. And Nymris quits the game. Let me go check chat real quick. Nothing in chat, so I hope it wasn't an emergency. But good game to our opponent. It looks like they're getting pretty far ahead of us. Elvish Visionary on Karametra's turn coming down for them. Planes into play. They're going to get back a Rex Sage. Unfortunately, we have the only targets available, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Sorry, Forest into play. Rex Sage to hand. Karametra is active. White Mane Lion coming down. When it comes into play, they can return a creature card from their battlefield to their hand. Number of triggers to this deck. Emir Shepherd did trigger for the Forest, but there's no creatures left in the graveyard. Sorry, no permanents, rather. And Seer Sundial does trigger, so they can pay 2 to draw a card. White Mane Lion into play. Let's see if they bounce. My bet's on Elvish Visionary. Nope, they bounced the White Mane Lion. I guess they're just going to keep recasting it. Elvish Rejuvenator. Let's see what it does. 2 green, 1/1. When there's a battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tap, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Land into play. It's another Forest. Rejuvenator into play. Karametra will go and look at the top 5. Forest into play off the top 5. Seer Sundial will trigger again. They pay 2 to draw a card that time. Secure Tribe Elder coming down. Karametra will trigger. Seer Sundial again, but they have no more mana. That's it for Karametra. No attacks to our turn. Elephant Grass will trigger. We will have to pay 3 this time. Don't know if I want to do that. The Jhoira player does not have enough mana for Psych Rift right now, but they do have mana up for counter magic. So I think Winds of Abandon, still risking that right now, is the way to go. Otherwise, we can get down a Blind Obedience and kind of survive. Angrath's Marauders is going to be difficult, however. So I'm thinking one more turn on it, Winds of Abandon, and hope for the best. I think is how we're going to go down here. And let's see if we can do Winds of Abandon. We also did draw a command tower, so that's nice. Nezahal Primal Triad will trigger. Nezahal is being exiled by them discarding 3 cards. Let's see what they discarded. Supplement Form, Archetype of Imagination, and Stormtide Leviathan. Yeah, as long as they don't have Recursion, I'm fine with those leaving. Everything gets exiled. They'll get lands, basic lands, equal to the number of creatures that got exiled under their control. Seer Sundial will trigger a bunch, but all the lands come into play tapped. Alright, let's play a command tower and pass it to our opponents. Jhoira is probably going to be able to recover the easiest, so we'll have to keep an eye on them. Nezahal will return at end of turn. We'll have to discard a card. Let's discard a Forest. To Jhoira's turn, Felwar Stone coming down for them. Diluvian Primordial. Nice. They decide not to cast the spells. That's interesting. And they decide not to attack either. 2 mana up. Alright, over to Karametra. Karametra coming out of the command zone back down for that player. Oh, we have some mana tapping for Jhoira player. What is it going to be? Nope, just passing it around. Okay, so no counter magic so far. White Mane Lion coming down. They'll go get some more lands with Karametra's trigger. White Mane Lion will have to bounce itself, however. Seer Sundial will trigger. They have a lot of mana. Might as well draw some cards. Kalani Heart Expedition. So, landfall, and then when it gets a counter, and then when you get 3 counters on it, you can sacrifice it. My 3-color Omnath deck, that's like Magical Christmas Land. I think one time on turn 5 I had 12 lands just by searching them out without like fetches, so that's awesome. Also, I don't use fetches. White Mane Lion coming back down for Karametra. Landfall trigger. I guess I should amend that. I don't use any of the fetch lands from the cycle of 10. I do use Fabled Passage, Terramorphic Expanse, Prismatic Vista, stuff like that. So, just to clarify. Explosive Vegetation, there go get even more lands. Nezahal will trigger. 2 lands into play, a number of triggers. Kalani Heart Expedition should be able to be sacked after this. Let's see if they draw cards with the Seer Sundial. They do for the first one. They do not for the second. Kalani's Heart Expedition gets cracked. 2 basic land cards for them onto the battlefield tapped. Forest End Plains, let's see if they pay for Seer Sundial this time. They do have 2 mana left over. They do not for the first trigger. They do not for the second. White Mane Lion coming back down. They'll get yet another land. Land into play. Seer Sundial will trigger. No mana left to use it. Okay, comes our turn. Elephant Grass will trigger. We'd have to pay 4 this time. I think at this point I'm going to let it go and use Spear of Safety. So we will not be paying for the Elephant Grass this time. Although it has saved our bacon. Good card to pick up, about $2.50 last I saw. We get a swamp for the turn. Okay, don't necessarily need any more lands at the moment, but could come in use. We do have Marshal's Anthem in hand, after all. Let's go ahead and play a forest. So everyone's tapped down, don't necessarily need to fear any counter magic. We don't really have anything in the graveyard that's worth recurring, per se, because we can't really cast anything after the fact unless it's Blind Obedience. And we do want to get down to Spirit Safety, plus our commander needs to come back at some point. So what do we want to do here? So we could do Marshal's Anthem for 1, get back Eidolon of Blossoms, and then also get down the Spirit Safety. That could be good for a turn. Let's go ahead and do that. Cast Marshal's Anthem with Multi-Kicker. Nezahal Primal Tide will trigger, unfortunately. We'll go ahead and select Eidolon of Blossoms to come back into play. Comes into play, it will draw us a card. More options are always good. We get Despark. That's pretty good. Do we want to play it right now, though? No, I think we're still going to have to risk the Spear of Safety. Help protect us that way. So let's go ahead and do that. Spear of Safety. Nezahal will get yet another card drawn for the Jhoira player. Eidolon of Blossoms will trigger. We get a card. Dictate of Erebos. That could be good if we can get a few more creatures on board. Alright, let's go ahead and pass off the turn. Over to Jhoira. 8 cards in hand after the draw. They are well stocked and well managed. Mountain into play. 7 cards in hand now. So yes, a Cycrypt right now would still be really bad. Still expecting one at some point. We have Nezahal off on the attack into us. They can pay for the 4. Delivering Primordial also off into us. So they'll be paying 8 mana to attack us if they really want it. Alright, they pay the 8. Do we want to block though is the question. I think taking 12 here is fine for now. We are down to 22. We take all of the damage. Let's see if they'll do anything in their second main. Warrant Power Stone coming down for them during the second main. That'll be good. They tap down their last mana and pass it to Karametra. Karametra's turn, 4 cards in hand after the draw. Rex Sage coming down, probably going to be on Spirit of Safety if I had to wager. Karametra, God of Harvest will trigger again. Wonder if they have so many lands, like how many they have left in the deck at this point. We're looking at, what, 28, 30 basics. They also pay for the landfall trigger for Seer Sundial. They will draw a card. Yep, on to Spirit of Safety. That's unfortunate. Soul of the Harvest, one of my personal favorite cards. Super cheap to pick up. 6/6 with trample for 6, not bad. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. Land into play, they do play for their Seer Sundial, they'll draw another card. One or else coming down. More lands. Land into play, Seer Sundial, will they pay for it? They do, they draw another card. Soul of the Harvest triggers, they'll draw another card. Champion of Lambholt. That's going to be very dangerous. They pay the 2 to draw a card. Champion will come into play, and they'll draw another card. Quest for Renewal. Nezahal Primal Tide will draw a card for the Jhoira player. Whenever a creature you control becomes tapped, you may put a quest counter on this. As long as there are 4 or more quest counters on it, untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. That's unfortunate. White Mane Lion coming down. Land into play. Seer Sundial triggers again. No card this time. Any number of triggers. Champion of Lambholt will get a 1/1 counter. Soul of the Harvest will draw them yet another card, and White Mane Lion has to bounce one of their creatures. Rex Sage back to the hand. I figured that was happening. Hornet Queen coming down for Karametra. That's no good for us. Hornet Queen will make a bunch of babies. Champion of Lambholt will get bigger, and Soul of the Harvest will draw them a card. Champion of Lambholt will trigger for each baby made, getting much larger. Their creatures will be nigh unblockable. That's it for Karametra. I think they've done enough. 5 cards in hand at the end of their turn. Going to roll over to us, hopefully in Ingarrick's wake. Nope, Archon of Sun's Grace. Not terrible though. Let's go ahead and play a Swamp. So what do we want to do here? Probably Archon of Sun's Grace and play as many enchantments as we can. So let's go ahead and try to do that. Archon of Sun's Grace, go. Unfortunately, we won't be able to block the team from the Karametra player, and they destroyed, unfortunately, our Spirit of Safety. Despark cannot get rid of the champion, so that is problematic. Hopefully, Jhoira has something to deal with it, but I don't think that's happening. Ooh, accidentally skipped to the second main phase. No bueno. Let's go ahead and play the Blind Obedience. Nezahal will trigger again. We get a couple of triggers. We'll get a card and a 2/2 Pegasus, which will be a 3/3 thanks to Marshal's Anthem, and have lifelink thanks to the Archon. Journey to Eternity. I was just thinking to myself, Pernicious Deed is probably better than this in this deck. Probably going to add that after. So I think we're also going to do Dictate of Erebos, because I want to try to force the hand of the Jhoira player to attack into the Karametra player, because we won't be able to survive their attack. So let's go ahead and do that. Extort with trigger. Nothing else to do, so we'll go ahead and pay for it. We have triggers. We'll get another card and another Pegasus. We get Grim Guardian. That would be pretty good if we could get it down. Unfortunately, we can't. I think at this point, we could attack with the Edelon Blossoms into Jhoira, but I don't think I want to right now. Don't want them attacking back into us. Let's just go ahead and pass it off. Over to Jhoira's turn. They could also have a Blasphemous Act, which would be very good right now. Would not mind a Blasphemous Act. So he loses Artistry. They will be copying the Worn Power Stone and the Hornet Queen. Aether Snipe. Full cast. When there's a battlefield, return target non permanent to its owner's hand. I hope that's going to be the champion. It is not. It's a Pegasus. Well, that's unfortunate. Nothing we can do there. Jhoira on the attack with Diluvian Primordial into us. Alright, well, I guess we'll block with a Pegasus. We have a couple of triggers. Might as well draw an extra card. I don't think we'll survive if Karametra comes after us only. Insect is sacrificed over on Jhoira's side. Let's see what Karametra does. I imagine it will also be an insect. Nope, they sacrificed the Llanowar Elves. Let's go ahead and draw a card. Plains is the card. We are down to 25. Fire Diamond coming down for the Jhoira player. Over to Karametra's turn. Let's see what they do with it. I doubt they'll immediately go to attacks. Nope. Rex Sage coming down, going to try to blow up a thing. Probably the Dictate of Erebos. A number of triggers to the stack. Soul the Harvest will draw them card. Champion Lionholt basically makes all their stuff unblockable now because Nezahal is only a 7/7. And Rex Sage is going to blow up Blind Obedience. Alright. I guess that's a good choice too. Could bleed them to death if we could cast 20 other things. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen though. There it goes. Blind Obedience to the graveyard. Champion of Lionholt will in fact make everything unblockable. I believe it's equal to the power. Yeah, creatures with power less than her. So, yep, it's all essentially unblockable now. Sylvan Awakening. Oh, I love this card in Omnath. So basically all their lands will become 2/2 elementals with reach, indestructible, and haste. Until the end of their next turn. Or sorry, the beginning of the next turn. And they're still lands. Yep, that's going to be lethal. Good game, Karametra. Look at that glory. Love Sylvan Awakening. It's just, the problem with it is it's oftentimes kind of a dead card till later, so love-hate relationship, but I do like the card. Look at all those quest triggers. Okay, let's just go ahead and yield to them all. Okay, so we are in fact taking 20 lands. That's 40. Yep, that's lethal. There it is. Minus 15, minus 9 to the Jhoira player. Victory to Karametra. So who do we want to give the point to? I'm thinking the Jhoira player, because we neutered their commander, they stayed in the game and didn't throw a fit about anything. Some people can get like that, and unfortunately run into too many. So I'm going to go ahead and give them the point. I would give it to Nymris, but I don't know why they left. They did seem like they're playing a really tight game, and I really enjoyed looking at the deck so far, but, well, again, I hope it wasn't an emergency. Hope they get to play some more Magic later. And there it is, 3 points to the winner, 1 point to us, 1 point to the Jhoira player. No points to the Nymris player, which is a little sad. But oh well, good game to our opponents. Let's go take a look at the deck. Okay, here's the deck. Didn't make too many changes to it, although Journey of Eternity is probably going to come out for Pernicious Deed. We will be able to destroy a lot of Mana Rocks and Hate Bears with it, and possibly other tokens and things, so probably going to put that in. Pernicious Deed being an enchantment will also help us with our Constellation things and stuff like that. Plus we can get it back with Sun Titan, keep blowing stuff up. I think there's enough synergy there that outweighs the risk of the enchantment itself. Conversely, we could also do Plague Boiler, which also hits Planeswalkers because it's all non-land permanents, but then we can't gauge it to the situation, so still probably going with Pernicious Deed. Okay, as for additions to the deck for this game, Edelon Blossoms is in over Ephemerate of Enchantress. Ephemerate of Enchantress dealt with our enchantments dying, and while we had a lot of our enchantments die this game, that's not always a sure thing. And if we do launch the combo, it kind of mills us out if we want to go true infinite. So not so great there. This one does the same thing, but it's more useful because it's in the front end when we put an enchantment onto the battlefield, we draw a card. So it works out better for the rest of the deck. Plus it's an enchantment creature itself, so it just ups the enchantment count, which I said was 31 in the previous video. So why we barely saw any enchantments, I don't know, did a lot better this game. Erebos Bleak Hearted is another new addition, and it did pay us some dividends. We got to draw a bunch of extra cards off of it, so because our creatures want to be dying sometimes anyway, we get to pay that 2 life, draw the extra card. Plus it is another sack outlet in case we want to start sacrificing something to maybe start an engine of some kind with our commander. Speaking of which, unfortunately, our commander did barely touch the battlefield this game, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Actually, it didn't even grace the battlefield, it got countered, so that is a bit of a sadness. Colfenor, if it sticks, does a lot of work though. It has vigilance, it has reach, and it has a big butt, plus it helps you recall your stuff, so protecting it might be something we should do in the future if we can land the thing. Don't have any protections for it in the deck right now, however, besides if it dies or gets exiled, some of the enchantments can bring it back. Our last new addition to the deck, as I didn't do too many, is the Tessin Champion. Still want some more card draw effects, and this itself gets larger, which also plays into Colfenor's ability, so we can get creatures back from the graveyard, plus we get to draw cards. Again, this one's not optional, so again, you have to be careful. But as I said in the last video, I wanted to go over some of the Pillow Fort effects, and we saw two of them here. Elephant Grass, which probably saved our butt against Nymris a few times, although it didn't get to like a high amount of damage and then they quit, which was, again, really unfortunate. It looked like the deck was rocking pretty well. So this one's actually cheaper than Authority of the Consuls, and I like it better anyway. Yes, it does have cumulative upkeep, but if you're playing something where you can recur enchantments, we do have 2 recursions in here. Might add a 3rd one, or if you're playing something like Tayam and you want some Pillow Fort like we saw in the last video, this will be right up your alley. Plus, if you can animate somehow, I guess Time can remove counters. But for this deck in particular, it's a low drop Pillow Fort card, worked out perfectly. The other card we saw was Spear of Safety. Creatures can't attack us or Planeswalker we control unless they pay X, where X is the number of enchantments we control, which can be astronomically huge. Unfortunately, Rex Sage from Karametra kept getting bounced and recurred or whatever, and it blew it up, but it works with it most of the time, and it does great work, so I'm not taking it out. We have 3 other Pillow Fort cards in the deck. Ghostly Prison. Know what that does basically. Creatures can't attack us unless the controller pays 2 per creature. This does not protect Planeswalkers, so if you want to use Planeswalkers in this deck or other decks, remember Ghostly Prison does not help protect them. Another card we have is Sandworm Convergence. Keeps flyers off us and Planeswalkers we control, plus it gives us ground beaters to block on the ground. 5/5s, they're pretty sizable, nothing to sneeze at. So a great enchantment, another Pillow Fort card. And then we have one more in Marchesa's Decree. This gives us the Monarch, and maybe we can use it as a political tool, plus it bleeds our opponents if they attack us in swarms. This would have been great to lay down just before Karametra attacked us. Didn't get it though, and they probably could have done something with the Rex Sage, but it would have helped great, and this is one of my more favorite ones because you do get the Monarch, so you get at least 1 extra card draw off of it. Alright, that's it for now. If you saw any cards that you want to purchase for yourself in paper, sealed product, or sleeves to protect all that stuff, please consider using the TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it helps out the channel. So hopefully next time we play this deck, we can get a little bit more going. We were getting going there, but we weren't drawing any of the bigger effects. We weren't starting to wheel through our graveyard and get some ETBs and stuff. So hopefully that'll happen next game. And until that next game, I'll see you around. For Colfenor, Albs on Enchantress.